and representatives of eastern Libya, meeting to denounce the government of Tripoli and trying to forge their way ahead. Presiding was former Justice Mustafa Abdel-Galil, who resigned soon after the revolt began.
We want one country. There is no Islamic Emirate or Al-Qaeda anywhere. Our only aim is to liberate Libya from this regime and for the people to choose the government they want.
Also attending were military commanders who refused to open fire on their countrymen and women.
I am proud to wear my military uniform, and I'm really sorry for all what happened. But I'm here to tell you that we are here to protect the youth, the people, and to fulfill any of your demands. The blood of the martyrs will not be in vain.
The fighting may have stopped in the east, but life is at a standstill. Military barracks are destroyed, and security is left in the hand of civilians. The classrooms of one school have been turned into a detention center by anti-Gaddafi forces, soldiers and civilians who were flown in and given orders to open fire on protesters. Among them, several nationals from Chad.
They told us there was a free flight to Tripoli. Instead, we landed here. Then they said that we should join the protest to support Gaddafi, but we found ourselves in the middle of fighting.
Despite Gaddafi's hold on power, Libyans here in the east of the country refuse his rule. There is no way back, they say. The people of the east will never fall under the rule of Tripoli as long as Gaddafi remains the leader of the country.
Libya's situation continues to impact those global oil prices. The world's top oil exporter, Saudi Arabia, is trying to reassure, saying it will step in to fill any shortfall. While that's eased concerns somewhat, the price per barrel for London Brent crude is still above $110 a barrel. More protests are expected across the Arab world on Friday. In Yemen, organizers say hundreds of thousands of anti-government demonstrators will take to the streets in Taiz, south of the capital. On Thursday, a pro-independence march in the south was marred when an activist was killed by a landmine. It happened in Laudar in the southern Abyan province, a stronghold of the secessionist movement. In Egypt, political groups are calling for another million-man march in Cairo's Liberation Square. They want military rulers to appoint a new cabinet, lift emergency rule and release political prisoners. Meanwhile, Egyptian police have detained the former information minister and state broadcasting chief. They are the latest arrests by prosecutors investigating corruption charges. And thousands of Iraqis are expected to take part in rallies calling for an end to corruption. The government has imposed a curfew in Baghdad ahead of the planned demonstrations. The Prime Minister has urged people not to take part, warning they could be attacked by Al-Qaeda. Well, it's been more than a month since the ousting of Tunisia's President Zain al-Abidine Ben Ali. But many Tunisians say they've yet to see the benefits. Naziri Mushiri reports from Gafsa, a region known for its phosphate mines and its revolts against the Ben Ali regime.
This is a place where rebellion still hangs in the air. The words above these graves, the unemployed and the forgotten. This is at the heart of their protest. They want jobs and for the government in Tunis to stop ignoring their plight.
I feel excluded and oppressed, like I'm missing hundreds of things from my life. We see our wealth leaving this area, millions of dollars, and we are getting nothing.
The wealth is in the ground, in the phosphate mines which dominate the landscape. The government-run company makes millions of dollars a day selling this mineral abroad. Yet this is one of the poorest regions in Tunisia. In 2008, 3 years before the Jasmine Revolution, people here revolted. But their uprising was brutally suppressed. All of these men, more than 50 of them, were beaten and imprisoned.
The protests back then were censored. There was no media, no Facebook here. People were too scared to tell our story because the regime was too strong.
In the same village, we meet graduates in their late 20s who've never worked a day in their lives. They have a choice: either stay here, unable to get married or earn money, or try to migrate to Europe. This is a region on the economic and social edge of Tunisia. People here feel disconnected with events in Tunis and the country's transition to democracy. Ben Ali and his political police may be gone, but there's still a deep sense of injustice here. Ben Ali's departure is just the beginning for this new nation. The transitional government must take notice of what's happening in Gafsa. The root causes of this revolution are not resolved. Nazanin Bashiri, Al Jazeera, Gafsa, in southern Tunisia.
Anger over Ireland's battered economy is set to dominate parliamentary elections there. Voters are expected to vent their anger at the Fianna Fáil party, widely blamed for the country's debt crisis. Well, Rory Challenge reports now from Dublin.
Look at Ireland's tourist board video and it's obvious what they want visitors to see here. A land of green lanes, friendly pubs and Celtic charm. But banking crises and humiliating European bailouts have hurt Ireland's image overseas. Hoteliers like Joe O'Flynn say they're fighting a losing battle worsened by bad government policy.
The room rates have been driven down to unsustainable levels, artificially supported by the banks, who won't lend to small businesses, but yet are expecting us to compete with them on a level playing field.
Ireland's tourism industry claims it can help power the country out of its economic woes if the incoming government makes some changes. There are big claims being made for what tourism can do for Ireland's current situation. Create 21,600 new jobs, generates $8.5 billion in revenues and $2.3 billion in taxes towards the battered public purse. The industry's flag wavers are making sure politicians on the campaign trail are listening.
All of the political parties actually have targeted tourism as one area that has potential to make a significant contribution, and a lot of policies have been suggested to get the tourism product back on track.
It certainly seems the tourists who've made it here like the island experience.
It's quite clear that they're suffering at the moment. I think obviously after the boom there's come a very, very quick bust, but we've really enjoyed the culture of the place.
I really like all the green grasses around the city, and I really think the Irish people is really friendly.
Everywhere we go, it's beautiful, and I would definitely come back again.
So it's up to the next leaders of this country, whoever they may be, to make sure there are enough tourist dollars to get Ireland moving again. Rory Challenge, Al Jazeera, Dublin.
Well, like other recent uprisings, the web is playing an important role in getting information out of Libya. Our web desk keeping an eye on it.
Yes, well, I've got videos coming through to us, including one claiming to show victims of the fighting in AlJazeera.
Also ahead, we'll be on the ground in East Timor as the UN extends its peacekeeping mission there for another year. And blasting off into the history books, the shuttle Discovery makes its final journey into space.
Business Latest is brought to you by Capco in just about everything.